Does this mean anything for the Knicks that they did not take care of business? The Pacers are already sitting there waiting in the Eastern Conference Finals. What does that mean that without Tatum, the Knicks essentially pull a no-show here in Game 5?
I mean, it's all right. I mean, you've left the door open. You've given a dead man breath, and there's no good thing comes from that. Worst case
So are
scenario.
they tied now?
No, they're up 3-2.
3-2.
Game 6 will be in New York. So you still have things in your favor, but what ends up happening in these moments though is that that little annoying thing creeps in. If you don't close at Game 6, you're in Boston for Game 7, and it puts an extra level of pressure on this game. And that's why, you have a chance to kill a series and you don't kill it. You've created a problem for yourself.
Yeah.
And that you never want to do that.
So as far as tonight, first of all, I have this Tatum injury up. I wanted to talk about the Eastern Conference as a whole. But as far as tonight, the Boston Celtics, they do force a Game 6. So they beat New York Knicks tonight.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
What was the score?
It was 127 to 102. So pretty handily.
They spanked him.
Yeah.
Like
Shout
a
out,
misbehaving child.
shout out to Derek White and Jaylen Brown. They had really good games here.
Or like a hooker who's holding money away.
Both are plus 26 and plus 28. They really controlled the game. All right. And Jaylen, 26, 12, and 8, 12 assists and 2 turnovers. That's big because he's a high turnover guy. And when you mentioned something about the Bill Simmons show,
Yeah.
I do watch after the Celtics games, and his dad mentioned how Jaylen Brown is a bad hands guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that part.
I didn't see it, no.
And Pink a few years ago would tell me about how he hates bad hands players. And then I started, once he told me that, I started noticing it about people like in Orlando, just,
People that can't catch a ball.
can't catch a ball.
Catch a ball.
So the hands are not ready. His hands are not ready.
They
or
just don't
just...
work. I don't know.
He's not a bad receiver.
There's kind of levels to it. There's guys that just drop balls that hit their hands, which is just absurd. But then there's guys that turn they don't catch cleanly. They'll catch it, but maybe they kind of bobble it or whatever. That sort of stuff. Having good hands is such an enormous attribute in most sports. Just where you can catch a ball, move to the next, whether you're going to shoot it or pass it. And there's dudes and it goes to a lot of things. It even goes to kind of catch radius too. There's guys you could throw a ball to, and it's just it could be behind them, it could be a little high. There's no way they're not getting it.
Snatching it out of the sky.
And then there's dudes who you literally put it directly into the two hands
and it goes right
through, hits him in the nose or something like that. Yeah, it's a huge attribute. When you're if you're legitimately scouting a player, how do they handle and receive the ball?
That has to be a part of it. And Jaylen is one of my guys. He's he's a guy that I like and promote and all of that. But I just have to agree, he is a bad hands guy.
Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, Jaylen Brown for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
But tonight, him and Derek White, they played very well. They forced a Game 6.
That's the guy whose hairline starts in the middle of his
Derek
head,
White,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
He went baldy this year.
He did go baldy this year.
Okay.
But he is that he believed in it, and luckily for him that he believed in that and went straight bald. Now, do you does this mean anything for the Knicks that they did not take care of business? The Pacers are already sitting there waiting in the Eastern Conference Finals. What does that mean that without Tatum, the Knicks essentially pull a no-show here in Game 5?
I mean, it's all right. I mean, you've left the door open. You've given a dead man breath, and there's no good thing comes from that. Worst case
So are
scenario.
they tied now?
No, they're up 3-2.
3-2.
Game 6 will be in New York. So you still have things in your favor, but what ends up happening in these moments though is that that little annoying thing creeps in. If you don't close at Game 6, you're in Boston for Game 7, and it puts an extra level of pressure on this game. And that's why, like, you have a chance to kill a series and you don't kill it. You've created a problem for yourself.
Yeah.
And that you never want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree with that.
And another thing I was thinking about as far as this series is a few months ago I came in here and I was like, hey, it gets really late early, and how that applies to this situation is no one, like, I would have bet the house on it, man. Like, everyone was looking forward to this Boston Celtics just having this run, a 5-year, 6-year championship run, because of how the team was constructed. It was damn near perfect. You have 2 young stars who never miss time. They're in the middle of their prime. And then you have movable, really great role players that are veterans around them that you can easily, like, replace. Like, you can remove whenever Drew Holiday it looks like he's getting old now. This is like the first year I've seen where he looks old. You can move on from Drew and replace Drew with and just keep this thing going. But in sports and basketball, one thing can change your whole trajectory. Jason Tatum's injury, which is going to put him out for the entire next season, right? Now the Boston Celtics, like, what happens with them? Like, they already have to make moves because their salary cap is too high. And the person that makes the most money on your team is going to miss a full calendar year. Like, it gets late early. And it gives so many other teams, like, hope now. It's like, oh, wow, this fucking powerhouse is going to be down for a couple of years. It's crazy, man.
Well, it may be broken forever. I mean, you got to realize that. Because, knowing that Tatum is not going to be available for all of next year, you don't have that same impetus that we're champions, we're contenders, spend whatever we need to spend to get it this year. You almost can go into like a reset build next year, make some decisions on a guy like Drew Holiday, and maybe he's moved or not part of this roster. Maybe there's another guy or two on that roster that you decide not to pay because it's like, hey, realistically, we're not contending. We're not going to win a title next year. If we get to the playoffs next year, that's probably a good season for what we have. And then all of a sudden, you make a couple of those moves and you're really in a whole different place. And that's why, I mean, sports change quickly. And so many little things can upset the apple cart on all this. Like you said, like, basically kind of maybe undo a potential dynasty before it really gets going. And even with this series, though, like, Game 5, Celtics win this thing. If they find a way to win in New York, maybe they win this series in 7 games. And then the Knicks are the team in freaking crisis. And what are those assholes going to do? And then the Celtics are on to the next series. You look again, the other game tonight, the Warriors. They basically get through a 7-game series with Houston. 7 seed beats a 2 seed. Minnesota doesn't look super imposing. Steph's playing great. He pulls a hamstring. Now you're probably going to lose this series.
So,
and then where are you then?
Tonight?
They're playing
right
now.
now. Yeah, playing now.